On this episode of Car Rant, we're going to answer your commonly asked questions about these two vehicles and just driving right-hand drive. No, that car doesn't start. I forgot to turn it off. So as many of you know who have been a part of this channel for just a little while, we bought both this Laurel and Pajero in pretty much the same weekend. And now, we're going to answer some of the questions you've got. I've got my phone here in my pocket. I'm going to pull it out real fast right now and go over some of the questions that you guys have asked me directly or asked me at shows, because I do write them down. That way we can talk about things with this Laurel and things with the Pajero, as they're both right-hand drive. And a lot of these questions kind of go with both cars. So, first one on the list, because I don't even need to look at my phone for this one. Everyone asks me this question. How hard is it to drive these cars, given that they're right-hand drive? Easy answer. The Pajero was very, very, very easy. Really took not that much time to kind of get used to, you know, where I am on the road and where I am in relation to the sidewalk and the lines in the pavement. It was pretty straightforward. It is a lot of fun going through drive-thrus because I more or less have to throw the thing in park, as it is an automatic, and hop onto the center a little bit to reach across the car. But like, other than that, it's really easy. It's not difficult at all. I do enjoy it a lot because it does weird people out on the highway. With the Laurel, however, yeah, it's a different story. As you can tell, the Laurel is extremely low. It is a slam drift car. It is set up to go sideways, not exactly straight. So driving it on the road can be a little bit of a challenge for me. I'm not used to a 6-buck clutch. This had a different clutch in it. I think I'd be totally fine. I'm just not quite used to it yet. And right now it needs a battery because whoever drove it last, they didn't turn the kill switch on, so battery's dead. And we just got to jump it to try and start it. Who knows? Maybe I'll actually learn how to drive it. Are they legal? Yes and no. The Pajero is completely legalized. There's no issues there. It is registered as an SUV, not as an off-road truck. It is registered as an actual car. This, however, is black tag. And in Virginia, what a black tag is you have antique plates, which you can probably see it in the glass there. Antique plates just allow you the ability to not have to go through safety, go through emissions. You just register the car as an antique car if it is above 25 years old, which being a 89, it's well over that age. I'm 27, so that's a dead giveaway. But because it is in fact a black tag car, you have limitations with how far you can drive it and things like that. My insurance is not a fan of this car because it is an imported vehicle. I had enough issues getting the Pajero insured. I more or less had to tell them that it is a Japanese Montero. So any of these standards for the Montero would most likely apply to this Pajero, and they were cool with that. But with this, they never heard of a Laurel, and given that the Laurel was an extremely limited run car, they're not that big a fan of it, and they're not that big on trying to insure it, because I had to send a picture of the VIN, which is unfortunately covered in gold, thanks Killionaire, and because it's slammed to the ground, they're not a big fan of that either. So jury's out as to whether or not I get to keep the car. But you know, good old State Farm, they are there for you, but only if they like what you drive. Please don't sue me, I'm just kidding, it's a joke for the sake of YouTube. One of the other extremely common questions I get when it comes to both of these cars, and more importantly especially with the Laurel, is how hard is it to get parts? How difficult is it to maintain these two vehicles? The short answer is it's not, but there is a little bit of a saving grace. With the Laurel, most of the parts that are in this car are actually S13 parts. They are almost all identical when it comes to the arms, the subframes, and everything. The big keynote difference is the fact that the engine is an RB20. With it being an RB20 means I'm buying a lot of GTR/GTST parts. So while not the easiest stuff to come by because of, you know, all the stuff with part shortage and everything else, you can still get them. So it's not impossible to maintain this thing. The thing that is impossible to maintain are the OEM body panels. So the trunk, the hood, which the hood has its own story in its own. issues there. We have the rest of the body kit actually in the garage, so like the side skirts and front and rear bumpers are okay. But otherwise, if I needed another door, I'm either gonna have to live without it or build a new one, because Kruger didn't have any last I checked. Up Garage works with Kruger, they didn't have any. So, you know, stuff like that will be difficult to get for this car. But as far as like maintenance items, brakes, spark plugs, oils, fluids, all that, that's relatively easy to get. The Pajero is a different story. A lot of shops actually will not work on it just because of the fact that it is an imported vehicle, and because it is a 30-year-old vehicle, 31, they just don't want to touch it because they're a little scared that they might damage it, they might break something, they just don't know what to do with it. Even if you tell them that it's basically a right-hand drive Montero, they still don't want to touch it. And as a result, it makes my life much harder trying to get stuff as simple as an alignment job done. Thankfully, there's a couple of off-road shops that are willing to work on imported trucks, namely Pajeros, because the owners, or at least some of the people that work there as well, they've worked with them. One of them owned a short and long wheelbase version of these. So I have stuff going on in my favor when it comes to the Pajero. So like stuff like that, it's not that big a deal. Stuff like this can be because of parts and availability. The real question is, will you get a shop willing to work on it? Unless you're going to a tuner shop, the Laurel is out of the question. They won't touch it, they're not familiar with the parts. You can't get these parts in the catalog. When it comes to Pajero, you're still in the same boat as specialty shops, but if you have a shop that knows you, that knows that you're not a vindictive person, not trying to like mess them up by giving them something challenging, such as trying to align a truck with a track bar, then yeah, you're gonna be okay. Otherwise, good luck. Now for the more vehicle specific questions that I've been getting a lot of lately. What am I gonna do with the Laurel? What are the plans with it? Honestly, I'm gonna do a little bit of maintenance, you know, spark plugs, fluids, things like that. But otherwise, like I said before, with the insurance issues I have, we're gonna have to let this car go. I was really excited to get into it. We will make more content for as long as I have it, but otherwise it is currently listed for sale locally in the Northern Virginia area. So if you're interested, it is for sale. But there's not much I can do. There's so much that's been done that I really don't have anywhere else to go other than maybe change out the coilovers, do some bushing work in the back so that the diff stops knocking up and down when you don't put it through its paces like you're supposed to. I'm kind of just limited with what all I can and can't do with it. So honestly, this is how it's going to stay. On the inverse side of things, this truck is probably going to get a lot more work done. As of right now, it is almost totally stock. We've upgraded some of the lights to LEDs, but other than that, there's really no other major upgrades other than the Bilsteins. Off camera, I put on a set of Bilstein shocks that were new old stock, for those of you who are into that kind of thing. They're great, they're fantastic. If I can get a set of the fronts, I will definitely upgrade these KYBs to the Bilstein front shocks, just because A, Mitsubishi and Bilstein just go hand in hand, especially if you know your Evo stuff, and B, they are that much better, and I'd rather have that ride quality be extremely consistent. One of the other things we will be adding eventually is going to be an actual steering rack stabilizer, just because we do want to take it off-road. We already have. If you've seen our Pajero off-road video when I went camping, that was a good time, and we definitely want to try that again. Otherwise, some of the stuff you're going to see this thing undergo is most likely going to be related to overlanding and camping stuff and keeping it daily drivable. There will be a couple of things that do get upgraded over time, such as the radiator, refreshing hoses, but there's not a lot that needs to be done because these also come very, very well equipped out the door, especially with mine being the Exceed model of the Super Wagon. So I'm pretty much set to go. Eventually. Another question I get asked a lot is, what kind of fuel do these guys take? The obvious answer with the turbo car is, of course, the highest I can get, and that being 93. It's not tuned for ethanol. It's not set up at all for ethanol from what I can tell. So it's just on 93. The Pajero, on the other hand, is a very interesting case. The 6072 can actually run on as low as 87. I think it's actually 85, but I'm never ever going to go that low with the octane rating for regular gas, just because I don't want to risk pre-detonation in this guy. It's my daily. I need this guy to live long and prosper a bit here. But one very, very, very nice thing about this guy is because it can run on a number of fuels, I can more or less take it anywhere in the world. So if we suddenly became millionaires because of the crypto market or something like that, and we decided to do a cross-planetary trip, cross-continental trip, whatever you want to say, yeah, that would be the most ideal candidate to do that with, because I don't have to tune it. It just runs. It'll burn anything. It doesn't care what it is. So every now and again, when it's been a good boy, I'll give him some 93. When he's been naughty, he gets 87. That's just kind of how it goes. Okay, so since I'm like literally in the middle of the street, let's do a couple of shotgun questions, because why not take some risks? Question number 1, is the Laurel Killionaire's car? Yes, this was Killionaire's car. It got sold to my friend Brad. Oops bump. He was the guy that did the video with us. He saw that a few weeks ago, and he pretty much did nothing with it. Now we got it. Question number 2, how much did you pay for the Pajero? A lot of people ask me that question because some people are very interested in the JDM/Euro off-road market. Land Rovers, Land Cruisers, Pajeros, things like that, Patrols. I paid $12,000. I got an incredibly good deal. The guy was extremely nice. Question number 3, will you ever sell these cars? Obviously, Laurel's up for sale. Pajero, never. I want to keep this car for as long as I live, and hopefully for as long as it lives. Okay, I literally had to move the camera because the car came and I was in the middle of the road and da-da-da. Question number 4, what kind of tires are you going to be getting for the Pajero? Right now the plan is to test out a set of Wild Peaks from Falcon. If not, we might be looking at another set of Nittos. Stay tuned, we do have a video review for a set of Nittos on Ishmael's truck. Question number 5, if and when you do sell this car, will you replace it with something else? For right now, the answer is no, but if I get a good enough deal, maybe yes. Right now, it's still a no. Question number 6, does this actually have real brides in it? We verified all of the information for them, and yes, this does in fact have actual brides in it. Are they comfortable? Not really. We're too big. In case you couldn't tell, I'm not exactly a skinny mini. I am more like a fat boy fall kind of guy. The brides are just too narrow. Since that was question 7, let's talk about question 8. Do you actually let your dog ride in the car with you without a seatbelt? No, he actually does have a seatbelt, but he does in fact sit in the front seat. And every time we go to a drive-thru, everyone loves to see this beautiful Frenchy boy stick out the window of the Pajero. And last but not least, question number 9. Is this the end of the video? The answer is yes. And I want to give you guys a huge thank you for supporting us on this channel, for watching the video all the way to the end. For our people who are still watching, tell us down in the comment section, out of these 2 cars, which are your favorite and why? And without further ado, thank you for watching. Stay tuned because the Evo is coming back. And we'll see you guys in the next video. God bless and peace.